morning, team. It is Tuesday, March 14th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Amy Corr, and I'm here with Kevin Van Neck, and we are in the Goose Island office. So we see what's happening in the market right now. We know a lot of us are looking for inventory. We're trying to find ways to figure out how to deepen our pipeline, build the people in our sphere of influence to make sure that we are getting in front of as many people as possible to grow our business. So we're going to talk a little bit about some things we can be doing right now to make sure that we are creating success in our business. So grab your cup of coffee and let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
That's right. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. We're going to talk about being an influencer. So this isn't necessarily being an influencer on social media, but like Amy said, it's about creating exposure for us, our business, our brand. But there's a key here. And what I want you to think about is when you see an influencer on social or elsewhere, what are they doing? Well, they're doing a few things. Those are the things we're going to talk about today. But pay attention, because when we're an influencer, the key in all of this is making sure that it's not about us, that it's about them.
That's right. It is the idea of making people feel good. If that can be your main MO and focusing on what they need, what's important in their life, you are going to create traction. I've always said you get what you give. So focus on the give and everything else will take care of itself. So the first thing that we want to talk a little bit about is making people feel great. And, one of the easiest ways to really kind of find out what's happening with people is, you guessed it, it's social media. Whether we like it or not, check out Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. Figure out for the people that are in your network or the people that you want to create a stronger relationship with, figure out what's going on in their life. Once you figure that out, then you need to react to it. Again, focusing on them and what's important to them. So once you see that somebody just had a son or daughter that got into a great college that they were really excited about, what's your next step? Right? Maybe it is a quick text, or maybe it's a cool little quick video, even a text video. Or actually, this is something that somebody did a couple of weeks ago that I loved. They did an audio text. Have you ever done that before? It's where you basically just leave a little message on text. It's a voice text. But I loved it because it went straight to my text and it was a quick little voice of this individual, it just resulted, the way in which I interpreted or took it in was so different than normally just looking at words on my phone. So how can you be creative or different to stand out, but also show that you care? And then Kevin and I were talking a lot about the art of the pop by. Now, we always say that agents kind of go crazy when they think about the pop by, because it's like, okay, Amy and Kevin, I need to get my 100 pumpkins and I need to put little note tags on all of them, get in my car for 4 hours and drop them off. Yes, you can do that, but it also can be as simple as, do you have 2 or 3 little things, a note card and a nice little gift, a candle, maybe just something small and easy that just says to somebody, I'm thinking about you. And make it something that when you are in the moment, you see something on Facebook or there's something that gives you an opportunity to make somebody feel good, you can swing by their house and simply drop off the note card and the nice little gift. Don't overthink it or make it such a big ordeal, but just think about, how can I be ready to make sure that I am making people feel good and I am taking notice of the things that are happening in their life. And this is something we should always be doing. But right now, if you are feeling stressed or even paralyzed because you feel like, I'm kind of slow, I don't have a lot of business, think about, what can I be doing? What action can I take right now? This is a really easy tip. Check out what's going on in people's lives and start making them feel good. Make sure that you get in front of them, because then the real estate opportunities will definitely follow.
Yeah, big tip. On social media, it's so easy to just like something, but when you take it off of social, you text them, you make a comment about it, it makes people feel great because you paid attention to them. And of course, what you're saying is relevant to them. So speaking of relevance, we'll go to number 2, which is make sure in being an influencer, you have the ability to be an influencer in your community and with people in your database you already know by recognizing them. So let's start with the community piece. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about being able to leverage your local knowledge. So that was about highlighting different community areas or different amenities within your community so that it attracts people that live there and it attracts people that are interested there. And you appear as the expert. This also applies to people in your database. If you can highlight or recognize people in your database, they're going to feel great, and all of their fans and followers will also then be interested in you. because you're making them feel good. They're going to share it, whether it's on social or talking about it at their events or with friends on the phone, whatever it might be. And with that, when we're talking about influencing, there's two more things. One is influencing at the bottom of it. It's not about just on social. It's about attracting followers in life. You want people to follow you, whether you're talking about real estate or whether you're talking about giving them advice outside of real estate, whatever it might be, you're trying to attract followers. So how do we do that? We do it by making people feel good, and we do it by creating relevant content. Relevant content are things that are interesting, cool, unique, dynamic, or funny. Don't do the same thing that everyone else is doing because it's not going to stand out. So I'll repeat what I said before. Look at the influencers you follow and make sure you pay attention to how they're doing it and what they're doing. What made you stop and pay attention to their post? Or influencers in your life, what makes you stop and want to have a conversation with them?
Yeah, I love that. Especially the point of checking out who do you follow? Because the whole idea is, you've got to see what's relatable and authentic and then turn that around on yourself and say, how can I be that to the people that I know? And so the last piece that I really want to talk about is market information and your interpretation of it. I think this is so important because right now, yes, there is a lot of information flying out there about what's going on in real estate. And we all are watching it every single day. Consumers are super confused. I was just saying to Kevin earlier, there was something posted about how foreclosures were at the highest level since 2021. But the reality is they were so low in 2021, there was only nowhere to go but up with foreclosures. But in reality, if you read all of the article, they're actually below 2019 levels by 34%. So if that even confused you at all, exactly. That's what's happening with consumers. So, we've got a lot of information that's going on out there. And, part of what we like to do as agents is share market information. And, instead of just posting graphs or resharing an article that you thought was interesting, that may not be interesting to somebody else because there's no context around it when you just reshare. So if you're really going to be a market expert, start thinking to yourself, if I'm going to post some data, what's going to be interesting about this data to the people that are following me? Figure out what's the story here. What is the one-liner, or what's the anchor or the star in the story or the data that's worth digging deeper in and explaining? That's where you differentiate yourself. If you can say, hey, this just looks like kind of a normal graph when you look at real estate, but I'm going to tell you what you need to look at when you're looking at this information because this is why it matters to all of us in this community. So start thinking about how you can really differentiate the data that you are putting out onto social, or if you're sending it in newsletters or whatever it may be. Because again, you're the expert, but you've got to pull them in or dangle the carrot or give them something that's really interesting. And, the other last thing you can think about is when you're sharing data, associate it with a story, whether it is a success story related to the data, because home prices were at an all-time high. I had a client that was able to come on. They didn't even know that they could sell. We got them a great price. They sold in 2 days and they're super happy, right? Create a success story anchored to the data. Or you can also incorporate a cautionary tale. And that just means something that maybe people don't want to do or be wary of, given what's happening in the market. So take a look at the data, be the expert, but do more than just throw it out there, reshare it. Make sure that you're helping people interpret and understand why it matters and make it interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you were talking about that, there's someone that came to mind about someone that interprets the information. They post a lot of thoughtful articles about data and the market. And it's Hank Miller in Atlanta with Ansley Christie's International Real Estate.
Hey, Hank, if you're reading or listening, awesome job.
Yeah, he does, because he doesn't just post the article, he actually types his interpretation or summary of what's happening relevant to his local market based on what the article's saying.
Yeah, I love that. So we hope that these 3 quick tips for you to be an influencer in your market are helpful. If you've got time on your hands and you're trying to figure out what can I do to deepen my pipeline, grow my sphere, try these 3 things and let us know how it goes. All right, make it a great Tuesday. Have an awesome week. We will see you next time. And until then, remember, you got this.